Greetings and welcome to the Dr. J Vlog series. It is Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025, and on Tuesdays we look into music and the arts. And today we're talking about music to inspire positive energy. Positive energy is the theme for the vlogs this week. So nearly everyone listens to music, prefers certain styles, probably has their favorite artists and songs, and that shouldn't be surprising because music offers a remarkable source of positive energy. At the neurochemical level, music releases dopamine, that vital neurotransmitter that's associated with pleasure and reward, as well as the three M's: mood, motivation, and movement. And there's evidence that music also increases the release of serotonin, which impacts, again, mood, but also our sleep patterns, anxiety, and pain. Music also, just in general, activates the brain's reward system, leading to feelings of pleasure and enjoyment. Music also stimulates the limbic system, which plays a vital role in processing our emotions and creating memories. And indeed, the lyrical content, where that exists, also tells stories, stimulates our cognitive and creative thinking capacities. And indeed, music's often associated with memories, which further stimulates our reward system and our emotional responses. Music may activate memories that remind us of places and people and things. A familiar tune will typically elicit the emotions then that are associated with those memories. Now be careful, good or bad. So it just depends on the circumstances and depends on the narrative. In addition, music can help us to retain essential information, and especially amongst those who might be suffering from memory loss. That is, music memories actually stored in the hippocampus. And as such, music memories are less likely to be adversely impacted by age and or disease. And then a musical mnemonic device is a very natural way, I've talked about this previously, to help us memorize and recall information. As children, we learn various academic and social concepts through songs. In fact, one of the first I can remember learning in kindergarten was learning the months of the year. And it was just a simple song. And then every time our month came up, we were supposed to stand up real quickly and then sit down, the month in which we were born. So the song was just January, February, March, and April, May, June, and July, August, September, October, November, December, and the years go by. Yeah, I remember that from, 4 or 5 years old. Simple tune. I'm sure we sung it more slowly, but again, the point was that we were learning the months, and then we'd stand up and we'd sit down when it was our particular birth month. Okay, fun stuff. But similarly, these memory strategies are effective for adults as well. In fact, our brains automatically fill in the gaps when a song suddenly stops playing. So music therapists then often incorporate these techniques with individuals to help them improve memory retention and with their developmental learning goals. So music then has all kinds of different benefits that increase our capacities to produce positive energy. So just briefly then, research has shown that access to many different kinds of music can reduce stress and increase our capacity to relax, lowering cortisol and oxytocin levels. Sometimes music can reduce our appetites, especially by distracting us or changing our focus so that we're less inclined to be thinking about food or craving food. But be careful. Avoid fast-paced music, for this tends to lead to increased stimulation and arousal and overeating. So it's a bit of a mixed bag in that sense. As just mentioned, music can serve as an excellent mnemonic device for learning, and that includes learning new words and phrases in a new language, in a foreign language. That's why often when we're learning a new language, music's incorporated into the pedagogical process. Music can also help us to manage pain. So, for example, there was a study of fibromyalgia patients, suffering from chronic pain. And they found that those who listened to music for just 1 hour a day experienced a significant reduction in pain compared to a control group. Another study determined that regular music listeners required less medicine to manage their pain. I find that interesting. And then another study, and a somewhat tangential topic, but they found that listening to music prior to surgery tended to lead to more positive and successful outcomes. In addition, and you probably already know this, or maybe you've tried this yourselves, I know I have, but music's often an incredibly helpful and successful sleep remedy. That's why there's an abundance of such music and channels available on YouTube, for example, devoted to sleep relaxation. And indeed, the empirical research backs this up as well. Listening to relaxing music can be an incredibly safe and affordable and simple and readily available therapy intervention, if you will. And indeed, in addition, sorry, I just got something in my eye. But in addition, music improves our motivational levels too. I learned that back in the 1970s. I remember, going to see the movie Rocky in the movie theater. I was a teenager. This was when, 1976, I think. And the theme from Rocky and Rocky running up the steps in Philadelphia, all that sort of thing, that stuck in my head throughout high school. Especially when I was training for various sports and that sort of thing. Or also I remember Chicago's, like when I'd be training, I'd be singing Chicago's Feeling Stronger Every Day. Those are just a couple simple examples. And then in general, music tends to make people happier and increase their subjective well-being, their store of positive energy in several ways, such as enhanced social connections, especially with shared experiences with concerts. I can remember almost every concert I think that I ever went to. For one thing, because I paid attention and was listening to the music. I wasn't there to get stoned or whatever. But yeah, I remember concerts quite well, but especially with the people that I attended them with. So that's an important source of inspiration and important, positive memories, that sort of thing. And again, there are these increased cognitive and emotional and memory benefits that I've mentioned. And if you combine music with playing an instrument, some of you can do that obviously, or like to do that, or with dancing, that's especially prominent for some people, my wife included, then these activities can have a multiplier effect to improve mood and well-being. In fact, my wife was mentioning just the other week how she goes to these hula classes, this hula dance. She's learned to hula dance for the last year or so. And no matter how she's feeling or how tired she is from work or what have you, she actually said this almost verbatim. When she gets into that class and she starts learning and dancing hula, all of the stress and tiredness and fatigue and whatever else, anxiety, just melts away. So she's able to go to another completely different place. So again, music or dance, obviously. All right, so so I'm going to leave a link to a scientific review article that summarizes these benefits. And what I want to mention too then is that, as you can appreciate where this is going, that not surprisingly, music therapy interventions can be quite effective in treating people with certain types of affective or mood disorders in particular. And so the research confirms the benefits of listening to music, especially according to the ISO principle, ISO. So the ISO principle comprises this notion of listening to music that matches the current mood of the patients at first, and then gradually shifts the music to represent the desired mood. And that seems to have some positive effect. Now, there's a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy involved here, too, that we've probably all experienced, in the sense that we tend to listen to music that aligns with our current mood or emotional state, right? So we've probably all had that experience where maybe somebody else is playing music that just doesn't align with how we're currently feeling, right? And so, like, for example, let's say we were in a state of calm and relaxation, and then suddenly we have somebody come by or drives up in a car next to us and they've got the dance music cranked up or the hip hop music or whatever that's expressing an entirely different vibe. And that's the key. What's the vibe that we're looking for in the musical experience? And so, again, on the positive side, if we hope to change our moods in certain respects, music can be a crucial facilitating factor and often one that's readily available. Use upbeat music with positive or hopeful messages to lift your spirits. And finally, music offers other psychological benefits in terms of its ability to boost performance. While people have a preferred step frequency in terms of their walking or their running, for example, scientists have discovered that the addition of a strong rhythmic beat, such as fast-paced musical track of some kind, often inspires people to pick up the pace, or will naturally then shift our bodies to accommodate the new rhythm. And so runners are not only able often to run faster when they're listening to music, they often feel more motivated to stick with it, and they'll display greater levels of endurance as a result. And by the way, the ideal tempo for workout music is somewhere between 125 to 140 beats per minute. You can look that up, or you can look up the beats per minute for different songs if you're not sure. I actually tested this out, not because I was looking at the research when I did this, but I was naturally trying to find music that aligned with my own workout tempos. And indeed, it tended to be in the 120 to 140 range. Most of the songs that I found fit very neatly into the types of workouts that I was doing. So anyway, it's just a personal anecdote that just happens to align with the research as well. Okay, so here's my final thought for enhancing your positive energy then through music. If you haven't done so already, think about the various musical genres that you really love, and think about the most inspirational and uplifting music or the songs in your collection, meaning whether it's what you carry around in your memory files in your brain, or the albums or CDs that you have on your shelves, or what's on your iPhone or Spotify list these days. And then organize some of that music to include a section with just these certain types of music, using whatever organizational principles work best for you. So I usually tend to use, just as me, a combination of alphabetical listings by artists and by year. And that way I can easily sort of go back and forth across history to different eras and different artists and the kinds of music that I want to be listening to. And so my point is if you can do this just with the inspirational music, then if you find yourself feeling a bit down or unmotivated or needing a boost of positive energy, apply some of your own music therapy to yourself. Select an artist or certain songs that you know you always respond to favorably, positively, that tend to lift your spirits. And of course, there are many other interventions and therapies that you can use, which are going to vary in terms of how healthy and how effective they are. But honestly, one of the best and low cost and most immediate interventions would be the application of music therapy to yourself. Now, to be clear, recognize that the music, or dance if you prefer, does not solve the long-term problem or underlying issue that might be afflicting you. But it certainly can at least help you cope and boost your mood temporarily, right? Just be kind to the people around you and to those who are, in different moods or in different spaces. Use your earbuds so you don't disturb them as well, right? Okay. And then last request. If you have any suggestions for songs that you've benefited from over the years in terms of boosting or replenishing your store of positive energy, feel free to share them in the comments below. And just coming up on Friday, I'm going to be doing a vlog on positive and inspirational lyrics that can help sustain us, especially when I find myself in times of trouble. What do we need under those difficult times? What do we need to boost our energy? What do we need to find the inspiration to exude positive energy? Tomorrow, though, we're going to just take a deeper dive into positive energy from a rigorously hard science perspective. All right? Hope to see you then. But until then, may you and yours, as ever, continue to create peace in your lives, nurture love in your hearts, and dole out hugs in abundance. I'll see you soon.